A while ago, Netflix announced that She-Ra, Princess of Power would be leaving the platform, and even though I've never seen the series myself, it saddened me to see another show get removed from the platform. So, today I wanted to take a moment to discuss a few other animated series and why they've been removed from various streaming platforms. Warning, this video contains opinions that may or may not align with your own. Please be kind to everyone in the comments when discussing. Now, since She-Ra, Princess of Power kicked off this discussion, let's begin there. She-Ra was created by Andy Stevenson in collaboration with Netflix and Dreamworks. Andy worked with Dreamworks on the production of the series while Netflix handled the distribution, promoting the show as a Netflix original. Despite this title, Netflix did not actually own the intellectual property of the series, but rather had a licensing agreement with Dreamworks, one that sadly has come to an end today, February 20th of 2026, hence why the show will no longer be available on the platform. Originally, I thought this might mean that the series will be moving to Peacock due to Dreamworks being a subsidiary of NBC Universal, the owner of Peacock, but that might not be the case. You see, there was another series created in collaboration with Netflix and Dreamworks, and that was Voltron Legendary Defenders. Voltron, created by Joaquim de Santos and Lauren Montgomery, was similar to She-Ra, a reimagined series from the 80s. Now, I actually watched Voltron as it aired and was quite involved in the fandom. It should come as a surprise to no one that I was quite the die-hard Clans girly back in my day. But that aside, it's been quite a while since I watched the series. Probably not since it originally ended, due to my dissatisfaction with the later seasons. But that's a discussion for another day. I was finally thinking about rewatching it last year, in 2025, when I discovered it was no longer available on Netflix. Similar to She-Ra, the licensing agreement ended and Netflix lost the streaming rights to the series. I expected it to be on Peacock soon after, but it wasn't. The only way to watch Voltron right now is by renting or buying it through a service like Amazon Prime, Apple TV, or other similar services. There is no streaming service where simply having a subscription is enough to watch the series anymore. This was incredibly disappointing for me, and the main reason I felt sympathetic towards fans of She-Ra when I heard it would also be removed from Netflix for similar reasons. Now, luckily, there is always a chance that these two shows could be released on Peacock or another streaming service in the future, but there is no guarantee that that will ever happen. Now, Netflix and Dreamworks are not the only ones that have removed series from their streaming services. Warner Brothers is notorious for doing this, but not always for the reasons you'd expect. Let's take a moment to discuss corporations and taxes, my friends. 'Tis the season after all. By the way, I am not a lawyer, nor am I a tax expert. I am a 24-year-old college student who just happened to file her own taxes a couple weeks ago, so please, take what I say with a grain of salt. For those who have never filed their taxes before, there is such thing as a deductible. These are expenses that you can use to reduce the amount of taxes you owe in the end, lowering your total tax bill. Now, corporations like these big media conglomerates can also file for loss of expenses based on a project underperforming. For example, if they spend $10 million on a project, it is expected to recoup that investment and eventually more. If they deem that a project will not break even, they can instead choose to pull it from syndication and streaming, writing the project off as a tax deductible. Warner Brothers Studios is actually quite notorious for doing this. Some may recall the Coyote vs. Acme movie that was originally set to release in 2023. Despite the film being complete, Warner Brothers canceled the release date and initially planned to write the film off as a $30 million tax deduction. Now, this film is currently set to be released in August of 2026, but that is only thanks to the public outcry by fans at the news that this completed film would just be tucked away, never to see the light of day. This is sadly not the only project written off for tax purposes, as both Symbionic Titan and Final Space were allegedly written off as well. Symbionic Titan was created by animation legend Genndy Tartakovsky, along with Brian Andrews and Paul Rudish. The first and only season came out in 2011, but was never renewed. From what I could find, it seems as though the series was written off as a loss around 2014, and the series is no longer available for streaming. I could only find it for rent on Apple TV. Another series with a similar fate was Final Space, created by Olin Rogers. Originally released in 2018, the series was cancelled after 3 seasons, allegedly being written off as a tax deduction around 2022. Luckily for the fans, the creator has been allowed to continue the series in the form of a graphic novel adaptation to conclude the story as he originally intended. This series can only be found on YouTube or Amazon Prime, and just like the others, you need to rent it. Now, as I said, Warner Brothers is notorious for pulling their animated projects from streaming, and during 2022, they were hit hard by financial burden. In April of 2022, Discovery and Warner Brothers merged, but this resulted in the company ending up with quite a large debt from financing the deal. In order to show investors that the company was serious about resolving this, they took drastic measures to cut costs, removing dozens of series from their streaming networks. These shows were likely not written off for tax purposes, as far as I can tell, so they could eventually return to the platform, but there's no way of knowing for sure. Now, some of these shows can still be rented, similar to the ones we've already discussed, but given the current economic state of the world, especially here in the United States where I live, that is not an option for many people. This includes shows like Close Enough, created by J.G. Quintel, the creator of Regular Show. This show followed Josh and Emily as they balanced life and parenthood in their early 30s. The Fungi, created by Stephen P. Neary, followed Seth, a young science living kid from Fungi Town, a prehistoric town full of mushroom critters. Tig and Seek, created by Mike Chillian, followed the adventures of Tiggy, a young detective, and his cat Guisik as they solved mysteries. Victor and Valentino, created by Diego Milano, followed two half-brothers with contrasting personalities as they spent the summer with their supernatural grandma. Summer Camp Island, created by Julia Pott, followed best friends Oscar and Hedgehog as they attend a magic sleepaway camp where anything is possible. Mau Mau, Heroes of Pure Heart, created by Parker Simmons, followed Mau Mau along with Badger Clips and Adorabat as they protect the citizens of Pure Heart Valley from the forces of evil. OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, created by Ian Jones Cordy, followed KO as he aspired to be the world's greatest hero. Elliot from Earth, created by Guillaume Casuto, followed Ellie and his mother Frankie after the two of them were transported across the universe by a mysterious rock. Mighty Magisaur, created by Kyle Carosa, followed Prohias and Vambra, two siblings who explore the land of Lasheria to collect magical swords and complete various quests. And of course, Infinity Train, the acclaimed anthology series created by Owen Dennis, followed different people trapped on a mysterious never-ending train where each car is designed to help them confront and resolve personal emotional issues. Though I have not seen all of these shows yet, all of these series were created with love and passion behind them, only to be wiped from the internet with no easily accessible or legal way to stream them anymore, and the creators had no say in this, with some of them even voicing their disagreement with the company's decision to pull their projects from HBO Max. So what reasons do these studios have for pulling such beloved series? Shows that received multiple seasons and had loyal fan bases? Well, it all comes down to the money. You see, back when streaming was first growing in popularity, the goal for most streaming services was to have as much content as possible, quantity over quality. Over time, with more companies tossing their hat in the ring, this method has lost its profitability, and studios now prioritize bringing in new subscribers with specific targeted shows. There's something specific about animation that creates these dedicated, loyal fan bases that I don't often see in other spaces. But that doesn't mean they're always the largest, nor will there always be a surplus of new members in those fandoms. Streaming services want more members, more than they want repeat customers. So even though many of these fandoms have likely rewatched these shows that they love, it doesn't matter if the shows aren't bringing in new subscribers. And at that point, they're simply considered a waste of space in a streaming service. Now, this is very disappointing to see, as the preservation of art and media is extremely important, and should take precedent. But those at the top do not seem to see it that way, preferring to line their pockets rather than create animation for the love of the medium. Overall, it is sad to see that these shows are no longer available to stream, but I suppose it's a sign that we might need to explore other potential ways of watching our favorite shows. I'm actually just now watching She-Ra for the first time, so maybe I'll even make another video about it if anything specific catches my eye. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, so please feel free to leave a comment. If you want to support the channel, consider liking and subscribing. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and if you're watching this just before bed, sleep tight.